Hey y'all, I'm Paula Deen, and if y'all can't stand the heat, you better get out of the kitchen today because we're fixing to light up your taste buds. But first we're off to Cookouts, Savannah's very own spice shop, to select our savory seasonings. And we're gonna pack them up and hurry on back to my kitchen where Father Hank's griots and grits are first up on the menu. And if that's not enough to get your mouth warmed up, it's jalapeno crackling cornbread and spicy green beans. Just the perfect side dishes. And finally, it's gonna be my fiery Cajun shrimp. They're simple, spicy, and delicious. So y'all bring your appetite and the fire extinguishers, cause some of us like it hot. I've got some recipes today that I really want to heat up. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to go to a cute little store here in Savannah called Cookouts. They've got all the spices I need. So y'all come with me because this is going to be a hot show. I'm on my way to Savannah's own Cookouts, where my friend Tom offers everything from spices to sauces to a huge selection of smokers. And I even called ahead so Tom could have all of my fiery spices ready for me when I get there. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Fine, how are you doing?
Doing good.
What?
I'm getting your black peppercorns, your cayenne, your basil, and your thyme ready for you.
Thank you. You heard I'm cooking up a hot meal today, didn't you?
Well, that cayenne will do it. There's no doubt about that.
Good. Thanks so much, Tommy. I know
Certainly,
I
Paula.
can always count on Cookouts.
Seeing you again.
I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
I got our hot stuff, gang. If y'all are ready to turn the heat on, I am too. We're gonna start with a hot, spicy pot of griots. So I'm gonna start with this beautiful meat. I'm gonna salt him and garlic powder him. And for a little extra heat, pepper him. Now I'm just gonna toss that around in there. And then I'm gonna dust them with just a little bit of flour. Not a whole lot, but just a little. Now I've got a good heavy cast iron pot here on the stove. Now to this hot pot, I'm gonna add some bacon grease. Oh, really adds nice flavor to this dish. And a little vegetable oil. Okay, the meat's ready to go into our pot. And we want our pot hot enough so that it's gonna sear and really brown our meat for us. I've told y'all before that Michael's brother, Hank, is a priest in New Orleans, so I just talk food with Hank all the time. And Hank was actually here in Savannah visiting. I had been out of town working for 4 or 5 days, and I was so starved for home cooking. I called the house to let Michael know what time to pick me up at the airport, and he said, Hank's sitting here with me, and I said, put him on the phone, please. I said, Hank, would you please have me something good cooked? And he said, yeah, honey, I'll do that. I'll have you something. Well, I got home about 10:30 or 11 that night, and Hank had a big old pot of buttery, creamy grits and a big old pot of steaming griots. And I had never had this dish before. So you can see that meat is sizzling and searing in that bacon grease and that vegetable oil. All right, we've got our meat brown, and now I'm gonna take it out and put it in our bowl because we've got some vegetables to cook now. And we actually want about 3 tablespoons of grease left in here. So now to the pot, I'm adding fresh garlic, celery, onions, and bell pepper. And cook those a few minutes until they're just coated with the bacon grease and tender. Okay, those look done enough. So I'm just gonna scoop these out. All right, we're gonna need about 3 tablespoons of oil in here to make our roux. Now, to make my roux, I'm gonna switch spoons because I love making my roux with a wooden spoon. And we've got it hot, and we're gonna add some flour. And we're just gonna stir that up until it gets a nice brown color. All right, now I have got some beef stock that I heated back here on the back stove, and I'm just gonna add that into our flour. All right, just a minute to get hot. Now I'm gonna put everything back in our pot. We'll get all those little crummies off of there. I definitely want those in the pot. We're on our way. All right, to our pot now. I'm gonna add a little salt. And if it needs more, I can always add it. And then I'll throw in about 3 bay leaves and about a teaspoon of basil and about a teaspoon of thyme. All right, the ingredient that's gonna make this really hot and spicy is a can of Rotel tomatoes, and I always use extra hot. And I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And just in case the Rotel tomatoes didn't do the trick, a couple of tablespoons of hot sauce. Our pot is just looking fabulous already. To this, I like the chunkiness of a fresh tomato in it, and I just kind of crunch them in my hand and tear them up. I don't chop them or dice them because I actually want to be able to see those tomatoes. That looks delicious. Now I'm gonna cover this and let it simmer for about an hour and a half, or as long as it takes for our meat to really be fork tender. Now I've already got a pot back here that's ready, because I knew we wouldn't have that long to wait on that pot to cook. So let's see what we've got. Look how good that looks. You just don't eat griots without grits. Now I've got a pot of hot, steamy grits. Now I've actually cooked these grits with a little cream and a little butter. But I have to have just a little bit of butter when I bowl up my grits. I just can't seem to eat them without it. So here goes the griots. And this is just how Hank taught me to eat them, with lots of butter. Looks just yummy. They're so out of this world. Y'all don't go anywhere because next, crackling cornbread and spicy green beans. I'm gonna move right along to now one of my favorite breads. My Aunt Peggy makes the best crackling cornbread I've ever put in my mouth. And a couple of weeks ago, I was home in Albany, and I said, okay, now let's get that formulated today, and we did, because I so want to share this with you. Now, I've got 2 cups of boiling water in my pot, and I've got a cup of cracklins. Now, for those people that don't know what cracklins is, it's actually pigskins. I don't know a nice way to say that. I'm gonna put them in our water and soften them up, because cracklins are really, really hard. And so I like to kind of soften them up. All right, now I've got these soft. So I'm gonna cut off our fire, and I'm gonna add 1 cup of plain cornmeal, along with about a teaspoon of salt. And I'm gonna do something to these that Aunt Peggy usually doesn't do. I'm gonna add some minced, fresh jalapeno peppers. And I'm gonna stir that up real good, and this should be real, real thick. And it takes just a minute for that hot water to absorb the meal. And you can see what that looks like. The thickness of it, it's really thick. Now I've got our black skillet in our oven getting piping hot, so when we drop these corn pones onto it, they'll immediately start browning. And that pan is hot, hot, hot. Which is exactly the way we wanted it. And I'm gonna spray it just a little bit. You'll find that a lot of grease is gonna cook out from our cracklings, but you can see it smoking. And Aunt Peggy is so cute when she does this. She said, now Paula Ann, knock your spoon down and get it to stay up kind of high in fat. I'm gonna make about 3 pones. I'm gonna come in here and drop the last one down and tap that spoon. Now I'm gonna stick these back in the oven and we're gonna cook them for about 15 minutes on 450 degrees. And after 15 minutes, we're gonna cut our oven down to about 350, and these actually take almost an hour to cook. And you may find that the tops don't get as brown as you like, but you can switch your oven to broil and they'll brown nicely. All right, now I'd like to show you how to really spice up that ordinary green bean that can be a little bland. Well, we're gonna heat him up. Now I've got my pan here where I cooked about 4 slices of bacon. And you can see that I've left my bacon grease in the pan. And I'm gonna saute my onions. Okay, so I've cooked those until they're just kind of translucent. And now I'm gonna add a couple of pounds of fresh green beans. Just toss those around and get them nice and coated with that bacon grease. And now we're just gonna put about a cup of boiling water over these. I'm gonna put the lid on these and we're gonna let them cook for about 15 minutes. We're not cooking these Southern style. We want these still kind of crisp. And I've got some back here that's ready, that has actually cooked for about 15 minutes. See how good those look? All right, now we're just gonna salt these and butter them. About 3 tablespoons of vinegar is gonna go in the pot. And some cracked black pepper. The older I get, the more I just love cracked pepper. I don't know what that says about me. It says something though. The real heat is gonna come from cayenne pepper. For this, just do it to your taste. If you like it a little hot, use a little bit. If you like it really hot, use a lot. And now I'm just gonna throw back in that wonderful bacon that I fried earlier. We've got a nice pot of doctored up fresh green beans. All right, now I've got some cornbread in this other oven and it should be ready. I want to take a look at it and hopefully it's gotten nice and brown on the top. Our crackling bread looks perfectly delicious. It's nice and crispy. And our green beans are ready. And this will be so good along with our griots and grits. Look at the nice hunks of crackling in that cornbread. It looks yummy. I know the first piece I'm biting off of. Just put me a little butter right there. This will be so good. This is gonna be perfect with the rest of the meal. Y'all stay tuned, because those folks that don't like beef, I'm gonna be doing some spicy, spicy Cajun shrimp. This last recipe I'm going to share with y'all today, you're going to be amazed at how easy and scrumptious it is. I'd be willing to bet that you'll want to serve it at your house probably weekly because it's that good and that fast. This recipe really serves a big crowd. I've got my shrimp over here, and now I'm going to make a quick sauce. I've got 2 cups of butter that I'm going to pour into my bowl, along with fresh garlic, fresh lemon juice, about 1/4 cup of Worcestershire, 2 tablespoons of pepper. Now you don't want to skimp on this because the pepper is what makes these so fiery. And a little salt. And couple of tablespoons of Texas Pete. Great hot sauce. And I'm just going to stir this up, and look at that pepper just clumped in there. So that's how simple our sauce is. So I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom of the dish. Just kind of cover the bottom of it so our shrimp will have some sauce to sit in. Layer the shrimp in there, about half of them. And you can see I'm using nice, fat, plump shrimp. I'm going to take some lemon wheels and lay on top of our shrimp. And then I'm going to drizzle some more sauce over that. So delicious. All right, and then we're going to pile the rest of our shrimp on top of that. We just have the best shrimp in Savannah. All right, and then we're going to top those with more lemon and pour on the rest of our sauce, and that's it. We're going to run these into our oven, and we're going to cook these just until the shrimp turn pink on us. The secret to good shrimp is not overcooking them. That's it. Just that easy. I've already got some ready in this other oven. Let's take a look at them and see what they look like. Oh. All this dish truly needs is French bread to dip in that sauce and a green salad, and you've got a full, nutritious meal just in a matter of a few minutes. And y'all will notice that my shrimp are in the jacket. They still have the shell on, which is the fun of eating these little things. Now, I've split them down the back and deveined them, but they're still in the shell, which holds in all those flavors. And I've got to get me some of that good shrimpy butter sauce. And a chunk of French bread. Oh, this is probably one of my favorite ways to eat shrimp. And let me show you the best way to eat these. You need to dunk them in your sauce. And suck all that juice out of the shell. And it's hot and spicy and delicious. And then strip your shell off. Back into the butter sauce. And chase it with a nice crusty piece of hot French bread. Y'all hang in there with me because I got some hot tips coming up for you. I want to share with y'all just a few quick tips that I have found that are awfully handy in the kitchen. When you're cooking bacon, don't ever throw away that bacon grease. Store it in a tin can, put it in the freezer, and it will last a long time. It won't go rancid on you. You can pull it out and just put that bacon grease in some vegetables that'll really kick them up. And for your green beans, when you want to cook them al dente, make sure that you've got a little lemon juice in your water. and cook them just for about 3 minutes, and then dunk them in an ice bath, and that'll keep your green beans nice and green. And on your griots, don't forget that crock pot. It works perfectly for this recipe. I really had a good time in the kitchen today, heating up some old-timey standard dishes, the crackling cornbread with the little bits of jalapeno, and the griots and grits, and the spicy green beans, and the fiery Cajun shrimp should work perfectly for one night when you're ready to turn the heat on. So until next time, America, I wish y'all best dishes from my kitchen to yours.